Yes, that was where the polling station was. That way no one could come and vote, is what ended up happening. No one ended up showing up to even vote. I think we had like one voter or something. It was ridiculous.
What'd you do while you were down there? Do you remember?
I ended up, basically I went and linked up with 3rd Platoon and did Overwatch with them until it was time to pull the voters back out, and then got them back to Camp Amati, and it was over pretty much. It was relatively uneventful on as far as my end of the deal went.
Okay. And was there anything about these poll workers? I understand they came from Baghdad. Do you recall that?
I don't know exactly where they came from. They came from different parts, and they were flown in to TQ, and then so that was beyond me. Like, I don't know exactly where they came from.
The next thing we were going to discuss was December 7th. Do you? I understand it was a pretty catastrophic event that day. But,
it was. I wasn't there for any of it, but it's something that I'll never forget. I was down at ECP-1, and
which stands for entry
control point, and it was the South Bridge. And when it happened, there was, we always had someone on radio watch in the COC, and someone told someone, and before we knew it, there was a whole bunch of NCOs, basically all the NCOs in 3rd Platoon. Because I was down there with 3rd Platoon at the time, because I basically disassociated myself with the intel cell at the time, just for personal reasons with other individuals. Got back into 3rd Platoon, was at the ECP, and we were all gathered around the radio listening to the entire situation go down. And basically what ended up, we found out that they needed blood. And we got basically everybody that wasn't on post, we got them all geared up, and we were just waiting for the word to push over to Camp Amati and go donate blood. And we ended up finding out that like all of India Company and then some other stragglers from the base, like all of them went and donated blood to help with our Marines that had gotten so messed up.
And poor Beard
Yep,
died that night.
Yes, he did.
He ended up bleeding to death.
Yep.
Okay. How many people were wounded in that?
The exact numbers, I want to say it was. There was 7 amputees, I think. 6 of them lost both legs, and 1 guy lost 1 leg because he was standing sideways. So the 1 leg basically saved the other leg, and that was Pearson, Jordan Pearson. He's a good guy. But yeah, and then the 1 KIA. But it all started with. I can't remember he was a young Marine, I just can't remember his name. But it started off with the 1 IED going off. The guy had some small burns to his back, but he was in a lot of pain. So they went to medevac him, and then when the secondary IED went off during the course of that medevac, it was horrible. So, but that's all hearsay. I'm sure you've got the story from the people that were there.
Well, I just never talked to anyone who was involved in the blood drive. So that didn't just involve Lima, that involved all the other companies.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there I believe you said, was there another patrol that you were on that?
Yeah, there's another patrol that kind of stands out in my mind. It was relatively uneventful, but it had the recipe for disaster, definitely. Me and the intel cell went down. We had to go monitor a mosque down south by where Operation Bowie had taken place. It was down in enemy-owned territory, and it was just the 8 of us. It was me, Staff Sergeant Link was there just because he's like my best friend. So I asked him if he'd come with, and he did, because we needed 1 more body to go with, and he came with, and it was Gaitan, Beaver, Talavera, Lemieux. We all went down, and I'm sure there was some others, but I can't remember exactly what was all there. You know, made a clandestine move down to this house. We basically just picked a house out that was going to be near the mosque so that we could monitor it in the morning when it went off, and you know, made quiet entry into the house. We were sitting there for a couple of hours. Sun started to come up, and one of the little neighbor kids came knocking on the door, and I think one of the younger Marines, not knowing, I guess we should have clarified, but not knowing any better, I think he opened the door and like pulled the kid in, like just to try and, you know, like keep our covertness, I guess. And it wasn't the best idea. Well, what we had wanted them to do was just let the kid knock and then go away. Well, now there's people looking for this little kid, so we made them let him go. So the kid knew that all of the Marines were in this house. But I guess the one thing that did help is that with every other unit that had gone out from 3-7, or at least from Lima Company, I know, if a platoon went out on an OP, 3 squads went out and had adjacent supporting, you know, OPs to, you know, cover each OP. And in this instance, they didn't know where the other OPs were, the supporting OPs were, so they thought there was more Marines out there, but they just couldn't find them. But before we knew it, there was a lot of cars that were driving around our block, and you know, there was people out there spotting. There was people all over the place, you know, looking directly up at where we were. They couldn't see us because we were very good about clandestine, but they knew we were there. They just couldn't see us. Well, then they couldn't, and I guess that helped also because if they couldn't see us, they're like, well, maybe we just can't see the other Marines, but they're here somewhere. They're here, you know. One round was fired, and we believe it was a test shot, like fire one round, maybe we'll return fire, maybe one of the other supporting houses.
They were doing like their own little recon by fire.
That's exactly what it was. We ended up pulling out a little bit early, just because we were. It could have turned bad had they mounted forces against us. But you know, Ramadi 1 was a different type of animal. They came after us. We'd be out in town for 15 minutes, and if you were in one spot for 15 minutes, the enemy would come hunt you down, and you know, bring the fight to you. We didn't have to bring the fight to them; they would bring it to us wherever we were, and that's what we believe was happening at that time. So basically, what we ended up doing was we called for extract. Our extract was going. We were so far down south that the trucks weren't allowed to come down the streets that we were near. So we ended up having to extract about 1,000 meters, maybe 750 meters or so to the north of where we were, and it was a long sprint. It was 11 in the morning. Sun's high in the sky. Everybody knew we were there, and basically 8 Marines took off, you know, bumping and bounding for 750 to 1,000 meters, and you know, got a safe extract. But it was definitely a hair-raising experience.
And I want to ask you real quick. So when you said they were looking at you, it was kind of like, I don't know what you call it, looks of intimidation or something like that.
It was definitely some shady looks.
And when they shot that one round, that was just a rifle.
Yeah,
okay.
just a one individual rifle shot.
Okay. All right, Mr. Brown, I hear you have a patrol story for us.
Yeah.
Would you please just kind of describe what your MOS is? You're not actually an infantryman by trade.
I am not an infantryman. MOS, 0621 Field Radio Operator. Basically, take care of all the radio and communications within the company. Run around with Lima 6, do all that shit, make sure all the PRs work, all that other stuff. I was attached to the intel cell.